Guys, it's Jeremy here, Man on Music Meltdown, back with another video. What I have today, guys, is something a little bit different. I wanted to make a video surrounding Ronnie James Dio, my favorite metal singer of all time. In my opinion, he's the all-time GOAT. I prefer him over Halford, Dickinson, Jeff Tate, all those guys. And I wasn't sure what video to do initially. I was really going to do ranking of the albums from his solo band Dio. And then I was going to do my top 10 favorite Dio songs from his solo career, which I probably still will do those videos in the future. But I wanted to try something a little bit different. I was thinking, he was on so many iconic albums with different bands. And I started thinking to myself, what would be my favorite albums that he was on? So what I decided to do is my top 5 favorite albums starring Ronnie James Dio as the lead vocalist. So you can pick anything from his early works from Elf, the first 3 Rainbow albums, his solo career, which I think had 10 albums in total, and then the 3 Black Sabbath albums you can pick from as well. And technically, like the Heaven and Hell album, I consider that Black Sabbath, so it's like a 4th Black Sabbath album as well. Let's jump right in, guys. Most of this list was pretty easy to make, I'm not gonna lie. There's 4 or 5 of the albums that he was on were just so iconic, and always been some of my favorite albums of all time that had to make the list. But at number 5, I decided to go with Mob Rules from Black Sabbath. It is their 10th studio album, killer album. There was a couple other albums that were contending with this one, but I decided to go with Mob Rules. I love the title track. Sign of the Southern Cross is just a heavy as fuck song, really good. Voodoo, Turn Up the Night, Country Girl, just a really good album, really good heavy stuff, and great vocals by Ronnie, of course. At number 4, I went with the 2nd studio album from his solo band Dio, entitled Last in Line. Really good album. The title track is so epic and heavy. Got that really slow build at the beginning with that, it punches in really hard with that soaring vocal from Ronnie. But some other really good tunes on that one as well. Evil Eyes, Mystery, We Rock, I Speed at Night. Just some really classic tunes on that album. Always loved it. Number 3, I went with his debut solo record, Holy Diver. Really classic album. If you don't own this is like a must-have in any collection for a metalhead. And honestly, these 5 albums are my top 5 Ronnie albums, are probably my top 20 metal albums of all time. They're all that good. But yeah, I had to win with Holy Diver. Some of my favorite metal songs of all time, like Stand Up and Shout. The title track, Holy Diver, is so epic and classic. Of course, Rainbow in the Dark, Gypsy, Don't Talk to Strangers, Straight Through the Heart. Just some really, really good tunes on that album. And Stand Up and Shout has to be the best concert opener song of all time. Killer song. Number 2, I went with Heaven and Hell from Black Sabbath. Sometimes my favorite Black Sabbath album of all time. There's some Ozzy albums that contend with it, but love this album. It's always been one of my favorites. And the title track, if I had to tell somebody, I'll play one song that kind of exemplifies heavy metal, like classic heavy metal, I would play them Heaven and Hell. That crazy bass intro, the riffs are insane, Ronnie's vocals soaring, it picks up speed halfway through the song and it really picks up intensity. Everything about the song just screams heavy metal to me. But yeah, it's a killer song. Other great songs on this album, Neon Nights, Children of the Sea. The title track is easily the best. Lady Evil, Die Young. Crazy songs in this record. And a must-have in any collection. Killer stuff. And at number 1, it had to be Rising by Rainbow. It's my all-time favorite heavy metal album. Not even with Ronnie, just in general. And with songs like Tarot Woman, Run with the Wolf, Stargazer. Stargazer is my favorite song of all time. I listen to it pretty much daily without exaggeration. And just a killer song. 8 minutes of pure epicness. It feels like you're coming from battle and Ronnie telling the story, and it just builds and by the end of the song, your fist is in the air and you're screaming along, singing along with the vocals. The guitar work is crazy. That has like that kind of Middle Eastern scale, and the solo is just crazy. the drum intro, like everything about the song is, that song is awesome. And the whole album is just killer. There's no duds on that album. 6, 10 out of 10 songs, all heavy, all epic. And yeah, greatest album of all time. So that's my top 5 guys starring Ronnie James Dio. Let me know down below what your top 5 albums starring Ronnie on vocals would be. And like I said, I do want to do some other videos with Ronnie. So I want to do a top 10 songs of the Dio band. I want to do the ranking of the albums of the Dio band. And I'll eventually do Black Sabbath ranking, but that'll be a little bit later. And I might even do a top 10 songs of all of Dio's albums that he was on, which will be really hard. And also I might do a ranking of the albums of all the Ronnie James Dio albums, all from all his bands. So that'd be something I want to tackle in the near future. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for my great content coming up soon, and keep it metal.